Imagine a vault. Not just any vault. A multi-million-dollar, state-of-the-art fortress sitting squarely in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia. It is outfitted with steel doors, keypad entries, palm scanners, and armed guards. Inside this impenetrable fortress sits a single, solitary piece of paper. This piece of paper supposedly holds a corporate secret so dangerous, so earth-shatteringly valuable, that the only two executives who actually know it are strictly forbidden from flying on the same airplane. If that plane goes down, the myth goes, the secret dies with them. It is widely considered the most fiercely guarded recipe on planet Earth. You've likely tasted it. Your grandparents tasted it. But here is the bizarre, uncomfortable truth that the company desperately hopes you never think about for too long: the vault is a lie. It is pure theater. The grand secret has been entirely cracked, the illusion shattered, and the biological and psychological warfare waged on your taste buds has been decoded. Today, we are opening the vault, and what's inside is going to permanently change how you look at the most famous beverage in human history. To understand the greatest magic trick ever pulled in corporate history, we have to go back to a man named John Pemberton in 1886. Pemberton was not a beverage mogul. He was a Confederate veteran who had taken a saber to the chest and developed a crippling addiction to morphine as a result. Desperate to cure his own addiction, he retreated to his laboratory to brew up a nerve tonic. His original concoction was essentially a mix of cheap wine and the extract of the coca plant. Yes, that coca plant. But when local prohibition laws hit Atlanta, Pemberton had to pivot. He dropped the alcohol, substituted it with a massive amount of sugary syrup to mask the bitter chemical taste, and accidentally struck liquid gold. But here is the thing: Pemberton wasn't a marketing genius. That title belongs to a ruthless businessman named Asa Candler, who bought the rights to the formula shortly before Pemberton's death. Candler realized something incredibly profound about human psychology: anyone can make flavored sugar water. To build a global empire, you don't sell a beverage. You sell an enigma. Candler went to extreme lengths to manufacture a culture of paranoia. He burned original documents. He ripped the labels off ingredient bottles in the factory, renaming them solely by numbers so that not even the factory workers knew what they were mixing. The most important, deeply guarded flavoring blend became known simply as Merchandise 7X. Candler intercepted the company mail so employees wouldn't see the invoices from suppliers. He created a mythos that convinced the public this wasn't just a drink, it was alchemy. And for over a century, this theatrical paranoia worked flawlessly. But we don't live in the 1890s anymore. We live in an era of terrifyingly precise science. Have you ever stopped to wonder why, in an age where we can sequence the human genome and land rovers on Mars, no one has just put this mystery liquid under a microscope? Well, they have. Enter the fascinating world of gas chromatography and mass spectrometry. Modern analytical chemists don't need a recipe card to know what you're hiding. You can give a food scientist a drop of literally any liquid on Earth, and they can vaporize it, separate it into its exact molecular components, and print out a chemical fingerprint. When you run this famous black soda through a mass spectrometer, the machine violently strips away the high-fructose corn syrup, the phosphoric acid, and the caramel coloring, and spits out a list of the exact essential oils hiding inside. But the truth is, we didn't even need modern lasers and spectrometers to crack the case, because the recipe was accidentally leaked decades ago. In 1979, a local Atlanta newspaper published an article about the history of the drink. Buried in that article was a photo of someone holding a leather-bound journal belonging to Pemberton's best friend. Hiding in plain sight, scribbled on the page in vintage handwriting, was a recipe. For over 30 years, nobody noticed it. It wasn't until a famous radio show uncovered the photo in 2011 that the world realized the Holy Grail had been sitting in a public library the entire time. Yet, here is where the story takes a bizarre biological turn. If the recipe has been leaked, and if analytical chemistry has confirmed the ingredients, why do we still believe the myth? Because human brains are hopelessly, fundamentally flawed. You are highly susceptible to the placebo effect of branding. When you are told something is a rare, guarded secret, your brain literally alters your biological perception of its flavor. Neuroscientists actually proved this in 2004. They hooked people up to fMRI machines and fed them the soda blindly. When drinking it blind, the basic reward center of the brain lit up. But the moment the scientists showed the participants the iconic red logo before they drank it, entirely different parts of the brain exploded with activity, specifically the hippocampus, which controls memory, and the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Your brain literally uses its memories of the brand's mythology to hallucinate a better flavor. The secret formula isn't a chemical blend. It is a neurological hack. By the way, if you enjoy having your childhood illusions systematically shattered by weird science and history, take a moment to subscribe to this almost dead channel. It takes 5 seconds, it tricks the algorithm into loving me, and it keeps the caffeine flowing. So, what exactly is the great, terrifying secret? What is the mythical merchandise 7X that requires armed guards and a steel vault? Strip away the sugar and the bubbles, and you are left with the elusive flavor core. The great mystery is a citrus spice tea. Yes, really. The handwritten recipes, backed up by modern chemical analysis, reveal that 7X is a relatively simple mixture. It is orange oil, lemon oil, nutmeg oil, coriander, cinnamon, and neroli. Neroli is just an essential oil extracted from the blossom of the bitter orange tree. You mix those oils with a bit of alcohol to extract the flavors, dump it into the syrup with vanilla and caramel color, and you have the billion-dollar secret. There are no unicorn tears. There is no unearthly, impossible-to-find compound. It is literally the contents of a medieval spice rack. However, there is one actual, physical advantage the company holds that you cannot legally replicate in your kitchen. It is a bizarre quirk embedded in federal law. They are the only company in the United States legally permitted to import and process raw coca leaves. They have a special arrangement with a chemical facility in New Jersey. Under the watchful eye of the D, this facility imports the leaves, strips out the illegal narcotic cocaine alkaloids, and sells the completely legal, non-narcotic coca extract to the soda company to provide a subtle, earthy background flavor. You can buy all the nutmeg and neroli you want at a health food store, but you cannot buy the coca leaves without federal agents kicking down your front door. That is the only real barrier to entry. And this brings us to the most beautiful, poetic irony of the entire story. Even though the recipe is public knowledge, even though any flavor chemist on Earth can replicate it, the corporate overlords in Atlanta do not care. Why? Because in 1985, they proved just how little the actual liquid matters. In a panic over losing market share, they fundamentally changed the secret recipe and launched New Coke. In blind taste tests, data showed that people overwhelmingly preferred the sweeter flavor of the new formula. But when they actually released it, the public lost their minds. People hoarded the old cans. They protested in the streets. They didn't want a beverage that tasted better, they wanted the emotional comfort of the legendary secret they had grown up with. The vault in Atlanta isn't guarding a piece of paper. The steel doors and the palm scanners aren't protecting a mix of orange oil and cinnamon. They are guarding a story. The ultimate secret is that there is no secret, there is only the incredibly powerful human desire to believe in magic. The next time you crack open a cold can, listen to the fizz and remember, you aren't tasting a corporate mystery. You are tasting a 130-year-old marketing trick, a dash of nutmeg, and the most successful psychological conditioning in human history.